Hello, hello, YouTube, and hello to you, my fellow metalheads. This is Duke Krishnok reporting in with you guys for yet another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a direct reply to a particular video from a fellow metal YouTuber by the name of Blackmetal Werewolf. So, in this video that he had just published, it's entitled, I linked in the title of my video. It's Ashamed to Like Metal. And he has a very interesting points in some things, and he brings a lot of good arguments and rationale for, why you could think this way, why he doesn't really get it, and whatnot. And I generally do agree with everything, just as those comments do generally agree with everything he's saying. My only kind of, it's not even a gripe. I really mostly just want to kind of bring a follow-up point or two to it that I felt like should also be addressed, that kind of was glossed over or didn't really get addressed like I thought it should have. What I'm trying to get at is, now, in a part of your video, it's basically saying that, they listen to some heavy metal bands, right? Some people listen to certain heavy metal bands. I believe Blind Guardian and Metallica were those particular examples. And now they don't really want to call it a heavy metal band, or a metal band. They would just think of it as hard rock. And there's this sort of denial. I think some of that might also be a pinch of maybe ignorance. Like maybe if they're getting new, or becoming new fans of metal, like you had said in that video, I understand that, but that being said, if they are new, they might not know other facts nearly as much as someone who listens to metal on the regular, so they might think of this, looking at normal rock, thinking, oh, this is just a heavier version of this. It might, some of it might be ignorance, some of it might not be. It really depends on the particular person, how much research they've done. There's also other outside factors, such as, they have some friend, for example, and this friend is really into brutal death metal and slam and stuff like that. And, you listen to some, metalcore or power metal or whatever, and they just oh, this isn't metal, dude. That's not metal, You should listen to real metal. That's not really metal, you know what I mean? There's some people that think putting clean vocals into metal does, kind of detracts and doesn't really make it metal anymore, specifically in death metal and deathcore and crap like that. But there's always going to be those people that kind of say that this isn't metal out of sort of ignorance or elitism, either one of the two. Yeah, it could just be, they don't want to admit it, or they're not proud of being a metalhead for whatever the hell reason. But I think some of it could also be due to the fact that, they might not be super well versed in metal, and that's part of the issue. Or, like I said, there's other people who are saying, no, that's not metal enough, that's not really metal, Ozzy, no, that's rock, that's not metal. There's always people who have little gripes with certain things. And if you're newer into this type of music, you might hold these impressions before you really go out and look into it fully enough to create your own opinion, so you're just kind of hearing what other people have said. Maybe in this particular example that you were using, that wasn't the case, because like you said, you were the one who was teaching them how to get into metal and a handful of bands and odds and ends like that. So it could be a little different. But generally speaking, people are always in different points in their life. And so some of it might not be an ashamed factor. It might just be a lack of knowledge factor. You never really know. And another sort of thing to also consider is you had brought up the point of being ashamed because of societal reasons, that, there's certain stereotypes with death metal, or well, metal in general, you know, that they're untrustworthy, that they're party animals, that they're Satanists and murderers and all those crazy things, you know. They're not clean, they don't wash their hair, or whatever the hell, you know. Um, yeah, that's true. But I also think that some of that sort of apprehension to admit that they're really into metal, or apprehension to get into metal at all, could also stem from familial ties. So if you have someone that is super into rap or super into classic rock, that is your father or your mother and grandparents and whatnot, and they keep saying, don't listen to this metal, what the hell is this metal crap, like, this isn't real music and this and that. Specifically at a younger age, you might kind of get pushed away with it, or, you know, or just kind of listen to it in secret, like, ooh, we don't tell the family that I like this. And I think there's a key difference between admitting to a general population and strangers versus admitting something to your immediate family and friends. You know, those are two different, you know, you interact with those two distinct groups separately. So you might say you're ashamed of being a metalhead, you know, to your family, or like, I don't know why I like it, but it's just something about it. And they're like, no, we didn't want you to become a Satanist, derp, derp, derp. It could be that. You never know. Could be a really religious family, and they just have these negative connotations in it. I mean, yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I pretty much agree. It's not a common thing for people to say that they're ashamed of being a metalhead, but I think that there's a difference between some people, with some people, and being ashamed towards certain people. You know what I mean? So it could be whether it's religious reasons or, you know, familial ties or whatever that kind of interfere with that, where they normally don't care what society as a whole thinks of them, but living with their parents and not being able to move out, they have to kind of keep it under the down low, and they might not explore it as much as they would have otherwise. They might not be as free towards admitting it because they've had multiple people or a lot of people tell them that this is not something to get into. This is, you know, it's a taboo thing. I mean, that happens. It's few and far between, but I think that those are two clear distinctions. You know, some people, you know, don't care what society thinks, but some people care what their family thinks. That's what I'm basically trying to get at. I'm not trying to criticize anything. Basically just wanted to bring up a few more points and sort of expand on what Mr. Blackmetal Werewolf had said. So, I hope you liked this video, and if you haven't seen that other video by chance, I did put a link down in the description, so if you haven't seen that yet, then you'll get a little more context. So, thank you. Have a good day.